Alright, so we've got another tub on water test, friends. This is a Viking tub, and this is the style that's got manifolds that are in the inside of the foam. So basically they plumbed it and then they fired the foam on it. And in this particular case, this is a Viking. That's actually what makes the tub strong, is the hard foam in here. It's like 2-pound foam. So I'm going to actually put water in it and fill it up, and we're going to start checking leaks. I suspect this tub has some freeze damage, so we're going to see if we can find it. So I'm going to start the water in it right here, and we're going to start investigating. So I've got water going in it, and this is the same way that you can do it at your home. I've got water going in it, and we're going to walk around. I've got all the panels off, and we're going to walk around and see if we can find any water. And look right here, we got some water. You can see it's right there, starting to pool. So we've got a leak back here, so I can stop the water. And I'm going to dig into this foam now. I can see that there is a manifold right here. You can see that there's actually a manifold right there. So I would suspect that there's some freeze damage right in here, probably this manifold and possibly this manifold that's down here, because you can physically see how the stuff is made in. So stick with us, friends, stay tuned, and I'm going to dig in and see what I can find. Alright, so what I use here is a sheetrock saw. So what I'm going to start doing is just tearing into this and getting the main pieces kind of out of the way. Just doing a kind of overall, because what we're trying to do is determine if the freeze damage is right here where I suspect that it is. And so you can just kind of cut around it and then take you a big flat screwdriver and pop pieces of the foam off. Now this is what we call 2-pound foam. This is a real high density foam. You can see I can't even crush it. It's not like cotton candy. They make a version like cotton candy, and you can see I cut in here and water's already coming out. So we definitely have some freeze damage right here. You can see it. So that, friends, is how you find freeze damage. You just see where the water's coming out, but you got to do it fast because you don't want it to get soaking everywhere. So we definitely have some freeze damage right here. So I'm going to cut the camera off. I'm going to dig all this out. I'll let you watch me dig for just a little bit. But it'll be boring, so I don't want you to get bored. We'll hurry this up. But you see how I'm doing it. I'm just chunking it out of there. And I'm going to have to dig it completely out where I can glue here, and then take all of my soft pipes right here and glue them back in the manifold. So it's going to take a little bit of digging to get in here, so stay tuned. All right, so I'm going to show you where I'm at. I've got 3 of them loose and cut. You can see I've got that one and this one. What I do is clean them by taking my knife and going back and just scraping and cleaning them up. I'm going to have to heat them before I can actually glue them because they get real tight. You can see I can't even squeeze it with my fingers, but if I heat that with a heat gun or a hair dryer, it'll get real pliable and we can glue it right back on. So I'm going to still work some more, ladies and gents. Just stay tuned. I've got, looks like at least 2, maybe 3 more back here. I think there's 2 more right there. That one is plugged off. I think there's 5 total right here. So I'm going to get those 2 dug out and get them cleaned up. Get this all, and I think I'm going to have to replace that manifold down there too. It looks wet right there. So that manifold may be bad too. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and try to inspect all the way down there and see what I got to do to make it happen. All right, so I'm going to show you how I clean one of these up. I just take my pocket knife and just go back here and just kind of cut and start scraping. Now don't cut yourself, of course, but you can just kind of scrape it down and clean it up like that. And yes, it is just kind of chipping foam, a little here, a little there. But if you chip enough of it, you get it clean. Just one piece at a time. And I take my saw, my sheetrock saw, and kind of get the bulk of the foam off of it. So I'm down to the bare minimum. Just what little bit's left right there. So there's another one. I got one more here. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean because this is not a glue joint. This is the outside, but you got to have enough room to get a clamp on there. These things came, they don't put clamps on this particular brand. I do not do it without putting clamps on it. So there you are, ladies and gents. Stay tuned. Next, I'm gonna, I can physically see that the pipe is cracked on back. So I'm gonna see if I can see how far back it goes. I can see a physical crack in it. So the thing is if you don't go far enough back and you don't cut enough of this out, I can see the crack, the edge of it stops right. Looks like it stops right there. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. So if you look, you can see a crack right there, and it stops right there. Get some more light on the subject here for you. Make sure you can see it. So it looks like it stops right there. You can even see a little wood water coming out. So it cracked all up in here and cracked and stopped right there. So I'm going to cut it off right here. Before I glue back, I'm going to inspect inside and make sure it's not broken on the inside, because if you put water back in it and it's broken on the inside, then you're going to have more problems. So hopefully there's nothing more around there, and then I'm going to start working my way that way and inspect and get her fixed up. Friends, here's the first piece. And you see that thing's busted out pretty good. It's busted right there and split. But it does stop like right back here. So we should be good to go on this part. We should be good to go on that part that way. What I'm concerned about is this manifold right here. So I'm going to chip in there and see if I can find any freeze damage there. Stay tuned. So the answer is yes. You see when I put some up pressure on it, it just broke right off. So it was definitely busted, freeze damage. So we're going to replace that manifold and the manifold down there, tie all this back together. So what I did here on this manifold, because it's up in the foam and all the pipes are going that way, I took a saw and I sawed this way and sawed the manifold out of there. So there you go right there, and that's what it looks like. So now you can see the pipes are up in here. So what I can do is I'm going to take my new manifold, I'm going to clean all the pipes out, but I'm going to take my new manifold and put it further down and jump from here to the manifold. Put couplers in and extend it instead of trying to dig all those out. Now I'm still going to have to dig out enough that I can get my couplers in there and get my clamps on and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to jump to a manifold right here. And that manifold I'm probably going to move further down that way. And so I'm getting prepped. All right, friends. So I've got this cleaned up. Everything is good. It's all cleaned. I've cleaned around it. So I'm going to do a couple of different things. Now I use Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue. It's the best that money can buy. So I'm going to get my blue glue ready. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the stuff. Now you don't have to make it hot. We'll do my bottom ones first. But these things are really hard, but if you heat them, they become very pliable, which makes it simple to slip this up inside, especially once you apply the blue glue. So I'm going to do this inside one right here first. Make this where it's nice and pliable. Now keep in mind your blue glue is very flammable, so don't blow yourself up. All you're going to do is just heat it. And this is a little bit of a process. So you take your blue glue, you put it around your barb. And what this is a 3/4 inch extension barbs. So basically I'm going to slip the barb up inside of here. I'm going to grab my pliers and I'm going to squeeze my clamp. And I'm going to push the barb as far in as I can get it. And then pull the clamp on it. And I'm going to do that for all 6 of these. So I'm going to heat the next one. Remember, friends, the blue glue is flammable. Do not blow yourself up. And when I say flammable, it's not a little flammable, it's highly flammable. Very dangerous. Also, sniffing it can be something. I try to always be in an open, well-ventilated area. All right, so that is that part of it. Now we're going to do the jumpers. We're going to do a dead-end manifold right here and jump over to it. And then over there, we're going to put this manifold on the far side, and so stay tuned. All right, guys, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to start the process, and I'm going to let this work. I'm going to let this pipe go where it wants to go. And what I mean is where it would typically go on its own. I'm not going to force it, so there's no kinks in it and that kind of stuff. So we're going to do the first one, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Slip this one on. Alright, we're going to set that on there. I'm going to take this clamp, go ahead and clamp it. And because this is the hardest one to get to, this is the one that's in the front and on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and do it first. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to let this one be the very first one. So I'm going to cut this off right about here. Alright, so slip me a clamp on this end. So the beauty of hot tubs is it really does not matter where, how you put it back together. It doesn't have to look exactly like it did before. That's not important. What's important is that if you have the old system, you update it to the new system, and you make it better or make it more simple. And this is another example of us moving some things around to make this more simple. You see, I'm actually moving it closer to the manifold that'll be down there. So next I'm going to do the next one right here. Slip my next clamp on. And I'm going to glue it, gluey-looey. And it doesn't matter the order of these as far as how they go on the manifold. They're all going to be the same as far as the pressure. So it's indifferent as to which one goes on the manifold first, second, or third, or fourth. I do it based off of need, and what I mean is based off of where I need for the hardest part to get to first. You don't want to put the top on first and then have trouble getting these on. That wouldn't make sense. So that's why you do it as it comes. Take care of the ones that are hardest to reach, and then go to the ones that are the easiest to reach. So this thing is naturally going to go right there. So I'm going to cut my pipe, put a clamp on. And you get the picture. So stay tuned. I won't bore you with the rest. I'm going to just get these done and show you the next step after I finish this part. So stay tuned, friends. I am the Spy Guy. Alright, friends, so I've got it finished. You can see I've got all of my clamps there, and I've got this manifold here, and what I'm going to do is pull it into place, and you can see it'll sit there real nice. So now I'm going to finish this part down here and then attach these two together. So I will be working on that. Stay tuned. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this part of the... Okay, daggone it. So now what I'm going to do is prep this part, which is the hard pipe, and what I'm going to do is glue this on, and then I'm going to glue this into that, and I think that's what my big plan is. And then I should have enough room to take these pipes and glue these in here, and then I'll have a short piece in between those two manifolds. So stay tuned. I'll show you what I'm going to do right here. First, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to scrape it. And you can see there's glue, there's foam on here. And so the big deal is get as much of this off as you can. With your knife, with the blade, I just actually scrape it with the razor blade. That's what I've always done it. And get it off where it's all nice and smooth. But whenever you're gluing new to old, you always purple prime it. So I am going to glue the jickety-doo out in this. I mean, you really need to load this up. But you got to spin it to win it. We glue both sides. When you put it on there and you spin it until it stops. If it doesn't stop, it is not glued. So if it doesn't stop, you can pull it back off and put some more glue on it. So here we go. Spin it to win it. So it's actually stopping on its own. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to glue this new into the new. So I'm not going to use purple primer. I'm just going to use pure blue glue. Getting ready to have to go get me some more glue. But we use Christie's Red Hot, as I've mentioned. Best glue in the industry for what we do. We offer Christie's Red Hot in our store. We also offer it in kits. So there we go. Alright, there's your manifold. So now I'm going to let it down. Take my tool out and let it sit right there. Alright, so I've got this one prepped. I'm going to put this one on first. Heat it just like we did the others. Not crazy hot, just enough to make it pliable. You can see I can squeeze it with my fingers. Apply a little bit of blue glue here. A little bit of blue glue here. And then just slip it right on there. Pull my clamp down into place. I'm going to put that clamp on the back side like that. And I'm going to do that with every one of them. Stay tuned, friends. So what I did there was I did a peel off of the old pipe. I just split it with my knife, cut it, and then peeled it. Alright, we're almost done here, friends. Alright, these two are definitely not gonna reach. So what I'm gonna do is break this one can reach right here. So I'm gonna put a clamp on it, heat it, put it in place. Just like that right there. Take my pliers, squeeze it, and then last but not least, I'm going to add an extension to this one. So what we're going to do is put this here, heat it. Put my coupler on. And now we're going to take a little short piece. This is it. This is the last connection besides putting the 2-inch pipe in between and plugging the hole that we're not going to use. Alright, so now I've got to cut a piece of 2-inch to go between here and there. Get it all cleaned out. Make that connection and plug that unused hole and we're good to go. I am going to heat this pipe to make it pliable, make it more pliable. Like I said before, we don't have to get it hot. We just want to make it where it's got some movement. Alright, so in order to make this happen, you're going to have to glue the doodly-doo out in it. And what I mean is really put some blue glue in there. Don't do just a little bit. Load it up. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to load these two up. Make sure they're clean, because that foam shrapnel gets everywhere. Kind of put it on there and twist it to get it over there where you need it. And that is a properly glued system. I've got to get a plug for that, so hang tight. I'm going to plug that and we're in business. So last but not least, the crowning jewel, a plug for the hole that we didn't need. Right there. Put that on there and twist it. Turn it till it stops. So there you are, friends. So I'm going to put some water in it, and hopefully this is all the freeze damage on this tub, and you can do the same. Alright friends, so we got the manifolds over here replaced. I filled it up. See, it's leaking right here, so I'm going to replace this manifold and we should be good to go. It looks like it's dry everywhere else. Stay tuned. Alright friends, so we've got another manifold that is leaking right here, and you can see that it's inside all of this, but I can see that it's wet right here, and you can see water on my hands. So we're going to start digging into this bad boy and get it figured out how far we need to replace. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my sheetrock saw and start kind of cutting into this to start breaking the pieces of it loose, so I can tear into it and see what it's going to take, how much of it I got to cut out. I don't know if there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 pieces here, but it doesn't matter. We're going to dig into it, cut it out, and change it just like we did the other ones, and we're going to thing's going to be in business here shortly. So what I do is kind of cut with your sheetrock saw, and then start popping the foam off, like this right here. It's just a process. You just got to kind of dig in, find your spot, how far in you are, and just kind of get it out of there. And I can see the edge of the manifold right here. So sometimes it'll break just the front part. It seems to be more broken on the other end of the manifold than it does on this end. So we're going to just kind of break into it and tear in and find our breaking spot. And you could cut it here and then inspect. And I'm going to cut this side back a little bit so we have a little bit of room to work. This is soft pipe on this side, and it's real wet right in here, so I'm assuming that it's broken somewhere in here, so I'm going to cut back a little bit more here. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And another way that you could proceed, if you could find the edge of the pipe, I'll do a different way here. I can see my clear pipe in the edge of the manifold right there. So let's just make it a little more apparent so we can tell what we have and where we are, and I'll show you a little different technique that I've used sometimes, especially this thing being full of foam like it is. There'll be a lot of digging, but you can see the pipe, the edge of the manifold is right here. There's a barb right there and it goes into the pipe. So what I can do is take my saw and cut right across there, and it'll go ahead and break all this loose and where I can get it out, and then I can start tearing this loose. So I'm going to try a couple different things here. I'm going to try to ease it up. And you can feel with the reason I like this kind of a blade is you can actually feel before you cut into stuff, you can feel where you're at with it and not cut through pipes. If you just bump a pipe with this, it's not going to cut into it. So you can see I'm just going down the edge of the pipe. I'm not actually cutting holes in it, because we're going to reuse all of that stuff. So you can actually just kind of feel where you're at with the front of the blade, just like this. Simply a process of making access to all of the pipes. All the pipes, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit at a time. Just chip away, chip away, chip away. Okay. So you can see that we're kind of at the edge, the edge of the top of the manifold is right there. I can see it. So I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to just cut just like this. So go easy, don't cut through other stuff. There we go, we're completely through there. Now I'm going to cut right over here. Alright, so there's your manifold. I don't actually see any freeze damage here. I think this is just a, I think it's leaking at this fitting right here. You see how brown it is, so it's definitely been leaking. So I'm going to get it prepped and get a new manifold in, get all this stuff scraped down and cleaned up, and get it ready. You got to scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. You got to get as much of this off as you can. And after you scrape it, you take your scouring pad and rough it up and get all of it off. You hadn't got to make it perfect, but you got to make it close. So you know the deal. We got to spin it to win it. So the first thing I'm going to do is purple prime. And look, this is critical that you get this joint right. The rest of it is going to be fairly easy. This particular joint right here, if this is not right and tight, is not going to be good. In fact, I'm going to trim this just a little if I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to trim off, but I'm going to try to straighten it. The reason I'm doing this is I want my coupler to push up as tight as it can right to the edge. I want to get all I can as far as surface goes. Feels pretty good. So I am going to prime it. Let it dry till it's tacky. And then you put your blue glue on, you put your coupler on it, and you spin the criddly-do out of it. You spin it till it stops. This is a critical joint right here. Nice and tacky. Overdo the glue. Put too much on it, because I want this to burn into this pipe. Yes, I do. Spin, 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 spin till it stops. Now spin it to win it, friends. If you don't spin it, it will leak, I'll bet you. Spin it to win it. Alright, so we're going to put the coupler on this side. I always couple, anytime I'm gluing new to old and there's a fitting here and a fitting here, I'm always going to use a coupler or something that I can spin till it stops. So we're going to prime this one. I've got it all cleaned up nice. I'm going to prime it and get it ready. Alright, I'm spinning it till it stops. There she is. She's locked in. She stopped. Okay, so now I will glue my manifold in right here. Some of these I'm going to be able to use like they are. Some of them I'm going to have to extend. But I'm going to go ahead and do my manifold, get it glued in, and we're going to go ahead and make that happen right now. I've got a little room here over to the side, so I'm going to do that. Stick my screwdriver back under to hold it up. Go ahead and get this happening. Now we're gluing new to new. I don't prime new to new. Some people will argue that you should. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you that you can't. I'm just going to tell you I don't. And it's never been an issue for me. But if you want to, have at it. Glue away. Proper prime away. Put it on there and twist it into place. So that is a beautiful connection right there. I'm gonna get it down and drop it down in the hole like that. I'm gonna go ahead and make my other connection, which is gonna be from here to here. While I have some room, I can actually move this a little bit. I'm gonna get that connection in. And then we're gonna make the connections right here. Stay tuned, friends. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna heat this pipe that goes right here. And it doesn't have to, I'm not trying to heat it to make it hot. I'm just trying to heat it to make it a little more pliable. You see it's got a little bit of a bend in it, but that's perfect because this has got a slight bend in it. So we're gonna get this glued and get this happening. And all I'm gonna do is just warm it up just a little bit. It's not crazy cold out here, but it is a little bit chilly. And I'm gonna take my blue glue and I'm gonna glue both sides of both the manifold and the coupler. I'm gonna load them up real good. And then I'm gonna glue this pipe, both ends, and just wrap them up real nice, both sides. Now make sure that you do not heat anything with your heat gun, or this glue with your heat gun. If you hit it, you can blow yourself up. This glue is highly, highly flammable. And so I am going to stick this in here and give it a good twist. And stick this in the manifold and pull it in and give it a good little twist. I'm not going to be able to twist it much. Just kind of lock all this in, push it together. And there you go, ladies and gents. Now I'm going to make my connections right here. And the way I'm going to do it is, the kit comes with enough of this pipe to do 3-inch pieces between every one. So what I'm going to do is cut this off where you can see this will go on. I'll cut this off up here, put my clamp on, and prepare this with my barbs and get it all put together, friends. Stay tuned with these barbs right here. I couldn't remember where I put them. There, you can see that'll go like that. So we'll heat this pipe as well and get it all put back together. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. So now comes the tricky part, friends. The hard part is taking something that barely moves and squeezing this and this in between, but we're going to make this one happen. Looks like the back one, maybe these two are going to be the worst too, so we're going to work on it real quick, see if we can make it happen. First thing I'm going to do is heat this pipe to make it pliable like we've talked about, just real simple. Doesn't have to be hot, but we want to make it malleable. Alright, next thing is we're going to take our blue glue and we're going to glue up into here. We're going to glue here. And then we're going to glue both sides of this. And the glue is not really critical here. If you didn't put any glue on the barbs, they would still hold. I'd be willing to bet you. So I'm going to squeeze this here. I'll squeeze this in like that. This is the hardest part, is getting all this kind of put together. And then this part on the barb. But you can see that it can be done. So I'm going to move this one down And you've got to really look at this and think about how you're going to proceed and get everything in the right spot so it all goes together right. Do the hard ones first, the ones that are in the back, and then do the easier ones second, ones that are in the front, and you're in business in no time. So that's the first one. The next one I'm going to do is going to be this one right here, and then all the rest of them move. Looks like pretty easy. So I'm going to glue this next one. Manifold repair with our kit. Now in this particular case I did need more than 6 inches of 2-inch flex and an extra coupler, but that won't happen in all cases. That's the thing, is it's really hard to know what all you need, so you just buy the basic kit. If you need an extra kit or an extra piece of flex, we offer that in our store as well. So we thank you for watching, and I'm gonna fill her up with water and fire her up. Stay tuned. Alright friends, so I hear dripping already. This thing's got some freeze damage on some airlines, so let's look right here. So I hadn't started running the tub yet, and you can see I've already got water pouring out, and what it is this right here is part of the air system. There's an air valve up here, well they're actually over there. This air valve goes to right there. There's a line that runs straight across. This line is busted. So I don't know how much of this line is busted, but you can see where it goes from right there and it goes right over to here, and it's below the water line. So it actually should hold water. The reason it's not is because the tub's not running. I'm going to go start the tub up and you'll see that this water quits coming. So here we go. I'm going to go start her up. You see the water stopped. The reason the water stopped is because there's suction here now. All that water, it's actually below the water line. The water line is almost exactly there, so it should hold water, but what's happened is this froze. So this tub froze with water in it actually, or either there was water sitting in this. You can see the shape of it is such that the water cannot run back out. If you look over here, zoom out. If you look right there, you see how it's shaped back like this. The water can't run out of it. It's just a poor design. So we're going to put a new manifold in right here, and I can actually do it. If you had water leaking out of it, you can actually start the tub up and do it as long as the pump's running. There's no water right there. So what I'm going to end up doing is cutting it right here, cutting it over there, putting a new piece of manifold in, gluing all that back in, and we're right back in business. So stay tuned, friends. So there you go. You see that it's all back together. Right here, all back together. Right up there, all back together. Looking good. There it is, ladies and gents. Finished. Alright, so I've let the tub run overnight. You can see that it's nice and dry right here now. There's no water anywhere. And we'll walk around the tub. It's dry all the way around now. All the manifolds that were freeze damaged, they're all nice and dry. You see there's no water anywhere. That one was busted. It was busted in here. That one was busted. That one was busted. It was busted there. This one was busted, and that one was busted. So it's all dry. You see there's not an ounce of water in there anywhere. And it's actually 100 degrees. I'll show you that. Done deal, ladies and gents.